In June, India experienced scorching temperatures reaching nearly 50 degrees Celsius due to global heat waves. Amidst the intense heat, Indians, both men and women, young and old, flocked to the Ganges River for a refreshing dip. Photos from the region depict the sacred river as more akin to a sewage pit than a holy site, with murky waters filled with debris and waste. The situation is exacerbated by the fact that the water contains an alarming 10,000 coliform bacteria per 100 milliliters. This raises questions about the state of the Ganges, once revered as the life-giving mother river of India, and the effectiveness of decades-long efforts to clean it up. The Ganges, originating in the Himalayas and stretching over 2,500 kilometers, meanders through 8 Indian states, including the economically vibrant, densely populated Gangetic Plains. It is the cradle of ancient Indian civilization. In the hearts of Indians, the Ganges is imbued with divine power, believed to cleanse the world's impurities and absolve human sins. For wealthy families, it is a privilege to sprinkle newlyweds with its sacred waters during weddings. Devotees in areas far from the river undertake arduous journeys to collect its waters in copper pots. Despite its purifying properties, the Ganges waters are increasingly contaminated by industrial and domestic effluents. With such high population density along its course, especially in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, where millions live, and 29 major cities, 70 towns, and countless villages discharge their waste into the river, an estimated 9 billion cubic meters of water are withdrawn from the river annually, while 1.5 billion cubic meters of pollutants are returned, equating to approximately 130,000 cubic meters daily. By 2020, with a population of 1 billion along the riverbanks, the Ganges was receiving 250,000 cubic meters of sewage daily. Among the most significant pollutants are industrial waste and plastics wrapped around industrial debris, which originate from over 200 factories along the river. A disposal of human waste exacerbates the pollution, with some sections of the river exceeding safety standards for coliform bacteria by 280 times, with 100,000 coliforms per 100 milliliters of water. This toxic contamination has had devastating impacts on the health of those who bathe in the river and the local ecosystem, leading to skin and gastrointestinal diseases in up to 40-50 of the bathers, according to Indian Health Department statistics. In India, more than 80 of diseases and 1 of deaths are attributed to waterborne illnesses, posing a significant threat to public health and exacerbating the plight of aquatic life in the Ganges. The pollution affects not just humans, but also endangers 140 species of fish, 90 species of amphibians, and countless other organisms that call the river home. Once known as the Mother River, now struggles with its self-cleansing capacity due to rampant pollution. The World Health Organization sets a safety limit of 5 microorganisms per milliliter for water quality. Unfortunately, the Ganges exceeds this limit by an alarming 200 times, boasting a staggering 1,000 microbes per milliliter. Addressing this issue has been imperative for decades. Since the 1960s, Indians have recognized the severity of water pollution in the Ganges, leading to the inception of formal plans for its management in the 1980s. Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, who took office in 1985, made it clear during his inaugural policy speech that he was committed to tackling the pollution crisis. This commitment was echoed in the government's 10-point program, which included the Ganges restoration as a priority. A dedicated Ganges authority was established under Prime Minister Gandhi's leadership, tasked with implementing laws to protect the river from contamination. Penalties for obstructing the free flow of the Ganges or constructing permanent structures along its banks were severe, ranging from fines up to 500 million rupees to imprisonment of up to 5 years. Activities like mining, quarrying, and groundwater extraction that could pollute the river were banned, carrying penalties of 2 years in jail and fines of up to 10 million rupees. To enforce these regulations, a Ganges protection force was authorized to arrest violators and hand them over to the police. The Indian government has allocated 40 billion rupees to establish a water treatment system and transform industries that contribute to pollution. Local governments in states such as Uttar Pradesh and Bihar have also mobilized resources to address the issue. Alongside governmental efforts, the Ganges Authority collaborated with environmental protection agencies to monitor factories and mandate the installation of purification facilities to prevent direct discharge into the river. International attention and support have also played a role in the Ganges cleanup. The United States, Germany, and the Netherlands have provided financial assistance and technical expertise. Despite these efforts, the outcomes have fallen short of expectations. In 2014, when Narendra Modi assumed office, he pledged to clean and control pollution in the Ganges, vowing to restore its former glory. His personal commitment was evident by choosing his parliamentary seat next to the holy city of Varanasi on the riverbank. In his election campaign, Modi emphasized the need for the river's revival, stating, "I appeal to the citizens to help the Ganges regain its lost glory." Modi announced the Ganga Mission in 2014, outlining 76 comprehensive strategies and 136 sub-plans aimed at purifying the Ganges with an investment of 200 billion rupees within 5 years. He set a deadline of 2020, the centenary of Mahatma Gandhi's birth, for the river's complete cleansing. The reality has shown that Modi's ambitious goals remain unfulfilled, leaving the Ganges in dire need of further concerted action and resources. Only one of the Ganges River basin has been effectively managed, with the rest still grappling with severe pollution issues. Out of 236 sub-projects aimed at its rejuvenation, only 63 have been completed, and out of 41 inspections, only 4 have been marked for improvement. In July 2018, India's National Audit Office reported that the construction progress for Ganges River projects was far from completion, with all aspects lagging significantly behind schedule. Despite India's government's grand promises, the reality on the ground is a tale of half-hearted efforts, exemplified by the sight of people bathing in the polluted Ganges during a heatwave, turning it into a communal bathing pool. This raises questions about the efficacy of decades-long efforts to clean up the river. The challenge in managing the Ganges begins with understanding its unique pollution source, religious practices. According to Hindu tradition, adherents bathe in the river daily as part of their ritual. Early morning crowds gather along the riverbanks, washing away sins and even drinking from the waters, which is seen by many Indians as pure despite the apparent contamination. During religious festivals, massive gatherings of up to 1 million people bathe in the river, causing pollution levels to skyrocket. Another significant factor is the belief among some that death by cremation on the banks of the Ganges and subsequent immersion of ashes can lead to a swift journey to heaven, resulting in bodies being left to decompose in the river or cremated remains being scattered directly into it. Addressing these practices requires a sensitive approach given the strong religious sentiments attached to the river. With over 80% of India's population being Hindu, any attempt to restrict bathing or cremation rituals could face widespread resistance. The Indian government has thus tended to opt for more indirect measures such as persuasion rather than enforcement. This approach fails to address the root cause of pollution, leaving the government's efforts to be largely symbolic with little impact on actual water quality. But moreover, economic considerations also play a crucial role. While India's economy has been growing at an impressive rate, much of this growth is fueled by industries located along the Ganges, which contribute significantly to the pollution. Implementing stricter regulations on these industries could jeopardize the economic gains, particularly for those who are still struggling with poverty. This makes it challenging for governments to balance environmental protection with economic development, especially in a predominantly Hindu nation where religious practices are deeply ingrained in the culture and beliefs of its populace.